So this first one that came in, well, it's actually, there's two that are pretty similar, so I'll bundle them into a two-parter. Part one, how does AI fit into capacity building or grant writing? And then as a follow-up to that, how do funders feel about AI?
Brian, I think that fits your niche.
Yeah, so AI is a tool, right? I mean, it's another tool that we can have in our toolbox to increase our efficiencies in our operations. So, when it comes to capacity building, there's opportunities where you're trying to think of, new strategic ways to fundraise for your organization. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going into a chat GPT, and typing that in, right? And it's going to refresh, it's going to have all sorts of information that it's going to provide to you, on unique ideas, on things that maybe other organizations have done. It's going to scour the web and give back that information. Now, the thing and the challenge with AI is, of course, it's not going to be very personalized. So that's where, from a funder perspective, we see it as a great tool for organizations. Things like the dreaded character limits in an application, right? So you just wrote out this flowy, wonderful thing that you applied for in one grant, and another funder is asking the same question, but they have character limits of 500 as opposed to the other one that had character limits of 1,000, right? You take that information that you already spent the time doing, you put it into, a chat GPT or whatever, and you say, summarize this into 500 characters, and it's going to spit it back out to you. Now, instead of just copy pasting it right into the grant application, that's where you have to make sure it's actually conveying the information and the impact that you're trying to do. The other opportunity is, in looking at trying to analyze some of your donor database. Now, again, what I'm going to say is please be cautious, because anything like a chat GPT is retaining all of that information. So you never, ever, ever put any personal information into a system like chat GPT. Do not put any donor information into that. However, if you have the appropriate software where you have your CRM, you assign each of those donors, an ID. So nothing can be tracked and kept within, the system of ChatGPT saying that, that Bob has given $50,000. It's going to be, donor ID 47, $50,000. And you can export some of that information, or you attach it to a file and you say, analyze this and please let, and say, organize this to who has given the most money in the last 3 years, with this kind of a trend. I mean, there's all sorts of kind of tweaks that you can put into it. So I think the opportunity to incorporate AI into your operations is a wonderful thing if you recognize that it is a tool, just like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. Those are tools to help you do your job better. And the same thing with AI. It can be a tool, but it's not going to replace your job. It's not going to do your job for you. And you have to have the proper protections in place to make sure that you're not putting, confidential information on there. So, it's you're going to see a trend. And if you haven't incorporated one into your own organization, having an AI policy in place is probably something that would be good, or something that's going to be needed in the very near future, because people are just going to use it, and that's a fact. So let's embrace it and let's figure out how we can utilize it. And I think funders understand that and appreciate that. But I can clearly tell if just like a professor, like they can clearly tell if a student wrote it versus a computer. I can read your narrative and know this is ChatGPT generated, and it doesn't have any sort of personalization to it.
Yeah, that's definitely appropriate.